Hello fellow traders and investors, I'm L.A. Little, a Wall Street outsider, and welcome to my YouTube channel. It took me 20 years to create the Neoclassical technical analysis theory and to make me a successful trader, and I share that actionable knowledge here with you on a regular basis. Good morning folks, L.A. here on Monday. It's about an hour before the open. We're going to look at a couple new names, revisit some older ones, and basically look at some trades that you can make. Also, of course, we got to set the table here with the Qs and the SPYs, and it looks like they're going to be down about 0.5% across the board here to start with on most of these. So let's see what it looks like. Let's start with the Qs. The Qs have been the weakest one. And when we look at the Qs, what we have here is bearish retest regen, and that's off of this bar. Now it's tested it once. This is the second test that's going on. The second test you get more of a coin flip, so we'll have to see if that coin flip actually ends up giving this market the opportunity to break back to the top side. Remember, if you look at it on a weekly basis, there's just ranges out here. The Qs being one of the weaker ones, but there's basically ranges. And if I go to the SPY, you're going to see the same thing. You've got a range. And this one you can actually see it's basically a range, a tight range. It's much easier to see it on the daily. That range is about right in there. And you're right, just above the halfway mark right now. So it keeps coming back to the same question. Does it make sense to try and expect a breakout to the top side, right? And will it carry? That's the next question. Or a break to the downside. Now, I've maintained up until now that, a lot more risk this way than there is the top side. The longer we go here, right, these are going to get extended, right? These are going to get extended. But right now, they're not, the MTTFs. And so when you look at it from that perspective, this may just be a consolidation, right? We don't really know, right? Consolidations, distributions, they happen and look about the same. They happen after a long run, right? And then you get sideways action. What makes one a distribution, the other is consolidation, is one breaks to the top side, which is consolidation, right? The other one breaks to the downside. Now, can you get tails within that? Well, yeah, you can, like we see Qs being weaker. But we don't have confirmation by the SPY. And we don't have it by any other measures, right? I don't even have the Russell up here, but if we pull the Russell up, you'd see the same thing, right? The IWM. It's consolidating, and it's at highs. So, people want to get too bearish here. Remember, when people are bearish, people are putting puts in place, people are putting shorts in place. If this turns and runs, they're going to get squeezed, and you're going to get potentially a false pop out that comes back in, or if there's legs behind it, right, that's the extension that continues on. So don't get too bearish. There's certainly a lot of rotation going on under the covers, and there's a lot of negativity in various sectors. We've seen it with the IGV, right? The software. We've seen it with quantum computing. We've seen it. You can go down the list. There's plenty of things that have been bearish, but at the same time, indexes have not been, right. They haven't broken, and they haven't broken yet. Now they may not. Let's go over a few of these stocks. Here's Amazon. Amazon, I suggested back here, was a buy. Got a decent run. I still think it goes up here to retest this. Do you buy it today? I don't know. You probably want to let it come back in a little bit now. This is a range, and until it breaks back up here, right, they're probably going to respect that range. So I'd expect it to sell back down some this morning, or at least this, first couple of bars this week. Let's look at another one, Palantir, the same sort of thing. I've been thinking this was potentially a buy setup, right? First test of this bullish retest regen, it came in. Thing is that this got a gravestone doji, right? It's been struggling to get higher since then. So, I had bought some. I flipped it out already myself. will I buy more? Well, if it gets over this, yeah, I probably will. But I don't know. It needs to prove itself. In a market like this, if you get gains, you take them, right? You got a sideways range. That means things are going to just be going. They're going to go up. They're going to go down. They're going to go up. They're going to go down, right? If you get your winner, you got to take some of that profit, if not all of it. And it depends on what you're trading, right? If you're trading around something that you already have. Let's look at mags. Mags very important here. They're coming back into the bearish retest region off of this. Just touched it on Friday. So, potentially they could get over here, but, this first test, odds are it regenerates to the downside. And so the mags regenerating to the downside is not positive. Speaking of the mags, let's look at another stock inside that is Microsoft. Now, I've been thinking Microsoft would try and make a push back up just because of how extended it is. Now, this is caught up in both the mags selling as well as caught up in the software sector, right? At this point, I'm hands off. I'm just waiting. It needs to show me something. Let's look at another one. Walmart. There's a new name. Now, Walmart just came back in. Walmart's been on a heck of a run, right? A huge run. Here's that consolidation takeoff. Is it done? You might think it is given the way it sold off last week, but this is a bullish retest region, first test after more than 6 bars. This thing's at least going to pop back up. So if it fades back in here into this area today, it's probably a buy. So I'll be looking at it. It's on my screens today. The viewer requested was IYT. Now, this one was interesting to me, and I agreed to go back and look at it because it got a high volume sell-off after this into what was a bullish retest region, more than 6 bars. Should bounce. That's exactly what it did. Now it's back up here testing. And the question is can it get above it? Now, if it can't, it's going to fade right back in. And you see it's a great buy down here in the 674 area. Now, will it get back down there? That's a, 8% drop or so? I don't know. You got a swing point high breakout here, breakout on this side, right? That typically can just run without coming back. So there's no guarantee this is going to come back down here. If it does, it's probably a good pickup. If it doesn't, then you have to be careful, right? But the main thing right now is, can it get over this? If it gets over this, right, this extension can continue. And the technical side of it from a neoclassical standpoint is that's what it should do, right? You got a breakout here, breakout there, no left-hand side resistance, multiple swing points. That thing can easily just continue up. So if it does, it's probably a buy. And again, you're buying it in a market that's sideways, so you have to realize the market isn't supporting that move. That's the hard thing right now on any of your longs. And it's also the hard thing on your shorts, right? You get short squeeze back the other way. Let's go look at what's inside there and see if we can see which one it's going to do. So let's go back up to IYT, and I'm just going to take them as they come. FDX looks just like the IYT, and it's the largest weighting, I believe. So that looks pretty strong to me. I don't see anything wrong with that chart. It's the only thing I would say is wrong with it is extended, right, on this time frame over here. So may get some weakness just to take that extension off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Man, you'd have to come back 20 points just to reset it, though. So this is I don't know. I don't know how this is going to get reset right now. That's a long way back down, 7% or so. So FDX looks pretty good. Let's look at, I think UPS is the next highest weighting. And UPS also extended, over here. You've got extension. And it's been a lot weaker, of course. I think we talked about this the last time we looked at it. So here's a bullish retest region. You're coming in, you took out that bearish retest region. So this is actually behaving pretty well. So given how bearish it was, you would expect you're going to get some backing and filling, and so far it's just been straight up. So if it were me trying to trade this, I would be trying to trade off of some sort of a retrace. So I'd be focused on something that gives me a pullback, into this area, right? This bullish retest regen area. And it's not that far away, it's 5%, a little less than 5, probably 4%. It could travel down to this one, which is 107, which is right inside there. So that would be a great pickup area probably as this came back, if in fact that's what it does. Let's look at Uber. Now Uber has been selling off. Wow, a pretty good sell-off here. This one looks pretty negative. It hasn't broken over here. It's still holding the bullish retest regens on the monthly, and we're ending the month this week. And that one's sort of extended. Bearish is extended, so it's been pushed down a long time. So it looks to me like what's going to happen here is you're going to get this break, right, and attempt to run back up here to do this retest, which would be simultaneously doing the retest here. And from there, it potentially comes on back down, or at least it should. And so it may get a save this month. We'll have to see next month, because right now this does not look very good to me. And let's go to UNP, which is the other highest weighting. So these four, if I remember, they make up something like 50+% of the weightings. I'd have to go back and check. Now this has been on a heck of a run too. Look at this spike. 229 to 264, you put on about 15-20% there. Here we can see it here. 13 there plus whatever was before. So that looks to me like about 15%. Yeah, you actually did some positive stuff here. I mean, this is a high volume anchor bar, and you got over the top of it and closed over it. This, even though it looks extended, it's not in terms of bullish MTTF. So it looks to me like it's going to go after this. That's not that much more to go given the risk. So you're going to want to get a retest back down to pick it up. I wouldn't be buying it up here, but I don't think the run's done if you're in it. So that's the way the transports look. They actually overall look pretty good. Uber's the only one that looks bad. So getting back to that first question, IYT, can it extend, right? Can it get over this? It looks like it can. Looks like it's probably going to push a little bit higher. And if we go back to the indexes here, I don't think this is a time to take huge positions that you're going to hold on a swing level, right? If you're doing day trades, 1 or 2 days, yeah, you can take an Amazon like I showed, and you can throw some money into it, ride it up, and take your profits. But we don't know how this is going to end. We don't know if it's just consolidation. We don't know if it's distribution. We don't know if it's simply just going to be a correction that then takes off again. And this is probably the most likely case, some sort of a correction that takes off again. But right now it's correcting via time. I mean, you make a huge run and then you go sideways. That's typically bullish. That's not bearish, right? Unless it breaks down and then gets a failure, right? That's a bullish situation. So, I see a lot of negativity. I see a lot of people talking about crashes. Crashes are not going to happen here. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, you can get a setback, but a crash is a totally different thing. You've got to break swing points on the way down, and you're going to have to or want to break them over here. Okay, where does that happen? Well, that will be a swing point low in 3 more months, and then you could get a crash, right? Then you could at least have the setup to give you the potential for a crash. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I mean at least the setup's there, right? If you got weakness after that, and if you look and think about it, right? What's the time frame? I mean, we're basically in March, so you got March, April, May. June would be the month. Well, what's in June? June, you got the midterms coming up. You got all the IPOs going on with all of the attempted IPOs with OpenAI, with SpaceX, with all, and with all those big IPOs that have been put in the works. When do you typically IPO? At the top, right? When do you get the biggest IPOs, right? The biggest or the largest amount of them. It's at the top. So if I look at June, I'm more worried. Right now, I don't think so. Maybe a correction. Maybe we just consolidate and move higher. When the market tells me which one it is, that's when I'll put my real money to work. Right now, I keep it mostly in my resource stocks, which are doing quite well, and a lot of it in cash that I simply play these trades as they come along. And, I'm in, I'm out. Right now, I believe that is the way to play this market. Have a great one. I'll see you next time.